Hi everybody, Ken Johnson here with you, and this is just another thing I'm doing now on my Facebook page. If you've been keeping up with me, you know that I'm trying to expand a little bit, and we're doing something that's just called weather and stuff. Don't worry, we're still doing mostly weather on this platform, but there's going to be other stuff we're adding to it as well. Earlier in the week, we did a segment where we talked to a veterinarian. I've actually discovered a real life Ace Ventura here in Texoma, a pet detective that finds pets. I'm going to have this person on at some point in time here on the presentation. And if you have anything you want me to talk about, discuss, you want to come on, you can come on to the stream with me here and we can talk to you live. A lot of cool things we're going to do, especially as we head towards the severe weather season. And don't worry, we are watching that winter weather event potential for next week. I'm going to have an update, a live stream on that in just a few minutes. But first, I'm going to talk about the NFL divisional playoffs that are coming up this weekend. If you follow me, you know that I absolutely love sports and love football, especially the NFL. Last weekend, we had a great weekend of football action. And my predictions last weekend were the Jags to take the win. I predicted the Vikings to beat the Giants. That's the only one I missed. I got the Bills game right. I got the Cowboys game right. Got most of them, got all of them right, but just that one. This weekend we condensed it down to I think it's a total of 4 games. This weekend will be an intriguing weekend to say the least. Like some really intriguing matchups, especially that Cowboys 49ers game. So I'm going to talk about it some here in a few minutes. I was supposed to have a good friend of mine join me to talk about this here too, but unfortunately he couldn't connect to the stream for whatever reason. He's using an Android phone, and I don't know, maybe there's some issues with that. I don't know. Maybe it's an older phone. I've never had any issues with it, but for whatever reason he couldn't get on. So without further ado, I'm not going to ramble on a whole lot. We're going to talk about this upcoming weekend. So let's get this thing started. Last weekend, some just fantastic football games. We had some great victories, and you know that little box you see down there, that blank box, that was supposed to be for my boy Darren, or we call him Spider. But unfortunately, like I say, audio issues and microphone issues, and he couldn't join us here. So, yeah, we got the NFL playoff divisional round this weekend. So let's take a look at the upcoming matchups. We got, of course, last weekend we had the Jaguars, and they beat the Chargers. A huge comeback win last week. So they're taking on the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Let me see what time that particular game is. I got it up on my other computer over here. I just got to see what time. I believe that that game is tomorrow afternoon at 3:30, and that'll be on NBC. Then we jumped down last weekend. We had a good game between the Bengals and the Ravens. Actually, a lot better of a game than I thought it was going to be. I thought the Bengals were going to blow them out, but the Ravens made it a good game. Good defensive effort. So we had the Bengals won, and of course the matchup everybody's been waiting for is the Bills versus the Bengals. And last weekend, I tell you what, the Dolphins gave the Bills all they could handle. They got lucky to get out of there with the win. So we got the Bills and the Bengals taking place, and that's a huge game. That's a very intriguing matchup. That's Sunday at 2:00. And then we jump over on the NFC side of things. Of course, the big game for people in our area was the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. That wasn't even close. Dak Prescott put on a clinic last weekend and just absolutely destroyed the Buccaneers. Tom Brady really hadn't looked like Tom Brady. Of course, he's 45 years old. That's like me going out and playing football in the NFL. And I can tell you right now, there's absolutely no way that I could do that. I get to the gym this morning. I'm sure I'll be super sore by later on today and probably tomorrow too. But the Cowboys took care of business, and then we jumped down and we saw the Giants and the Vikings. That was a high-scoring game as predicted. I thought the Vikings would pull it out, but I'll tell you what, the Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, they really put on a clinic last week. The Vikings defense was absolutely trash, and the Giants won that game. They moved on. They're going to take on the Eagles, the number 1 seed in the NFC. And that game is tomorrow night at 7:15. And then we jump down to the Seahawks and the 49ers. That was actually a decent game too. 49ers took care of business, and they take on the Cowboys. Of course, that's the last game of the week. That's on Fox. That's coming up at 5:30 on Sunday. And I saw where they're having a watch party down in Arlington on Sunday for that game. Free admission, free parking. It looked like a lot of fun, and I wouldn't mind going down there and being in all that. That'd be a lot of fun. I got a friend of mine that's actually on the West Coast said he's going to the game. He's Mark Austin. I'm gonna try to have him on the live stream too, maybe at some point. Not today, but at some point I'll have him on talking about them Cow. He's the biggest Cowboy fan I know. If you follow me, you know that I am a big New Orleans Saints fan. I bleed black and gold. I have since I was a little kid. But, since I moved over here to this part of Texas, I used to, growing up, I hated the Cowboys. I'll be honest. I absolutely hated them. Because in the 90s, I was a big Saint fan, and we sucked. We were not any good. And all my friends, or I had several friends that were big Cowboy fans over in Mississippi, and they just used to rub it in my face. So I hated the Cowboys. But since I've moved to this area, I love Texas so much. And I love this area so much. I could not help, and my buddy Brian Kelly, if he's watching, would probably kill me for this. And my buddy Darren also, I see, is watching. He would also kick my butt for this too. But I've actually become a Cowboys fan. I really have. Last year when they lost in the playoffs, I was real depressed. Of course, I went to Mississippi State. Dak Prescott's the quarterback. And I've grown to really like the Cowboys as my second favorite team. Of course, if they're playing my Saints, I'm going to pull for the Saints every time. All right, so let's talk about it a little bit. The Giants taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what? I looking at that game, I know that the Giants had a good game last week. And it wouldn't shock me if they pulled an upset, but the Eagles are rested. They've got a really tough defense. I think they'll shut down Saquon Barkley. I don't think Daniel Jones will be able to do what he did last week. I don't think the matchup is that well, but of course you're dealing with an NFC team, NFC East team that have played each other already a couple times this year. They know each other very well, so it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a year. So I'm going to pick the Eagles to win that game. I just think that they're the better football team here, but it wouldn't shock me if there's an upset. But I'm going to take the Eagles in that game, probably pulling away late in the game, probably 31-20, something along those lines, kind of what I'm looking at there. I don't know. I'm not real good at picking points and picking spreads and all that kind of stuff. When I do place small legal bets, I usually take them what's called the money lines, and I just picking a winner. It's easier to do it that way. I usually parlay, and when you parlay, you're trying to bet several games to win in a row. They're hard to hit, but if you do hit them, you can win more money at it. I've done that several times this year, and picking the money line, picking the winners. I'm pretty good at that, but I'm just not good at point spreads. But I do like the Eagles in that. Of course, Jalen Hurts injury, he's injured earlier in the year, some type of a sprain in his throwing shoulder. So that's also going to play a role. I think the Eagles are going to run the football a lot, but again, I think their defense is just too much for the Giants. So I'm taking the Eagles in that game. And again, that game is on tomorrow evening at 7:15, and that will be on Fox. All right, here's another game. We're going to jump over to the AFC side of things. The Jags and the Chiefs. We got Trevor Lawrence taking on Patrick Mahomes. I think that the Jaguars lose the moment they touch down. They already probably are in Kansas City, and the minute they show up to Arrowhead Stadium, I think the game is already over. I think the Chiefs are going to roll them. The Jaguars are surprising. I like their coach, Doug Peterson. He's building something really good in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence certainly showing that he's going to be a problem for the AFC to deal with in the future. He really looks good. That Jaguars team looks good, but overall, I just think that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to be too much. I do think that the game may start off a little bit close, but I think that the Chiefs will pull away and will probably wind up winning that game pretty easily. And again, I'm not going to put out a point spread on it because I'm just not good enough for that, but I do expect that to be a pretty easy victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, I could be wrong on that. Now remember, this is divisional round. Anything can happen. All right, so let's jump over to the Bengals and the Bills. This is another very intriguing matchup. Of course, Damar Hamilton was, pretty much died on the field when they played each other a few weeks ago. Thankfully, the doctors were able to revive him. The trainers were able to revive him on the field. I don't know if he died. I think it was just cardiac arrest, but thankfully he was able to be revived, and he went to the hospital, and the doctors did a great job at keeping him alive and getting him to a good point now. And I think he's doing a lot better. His road to recovery looks good. So the Bills have had a lot to play for, but in my opinion, I just don't think that the Bills there's something just off with them. They've been giving up a lot of points. They've struggled at times. I like Josh Allen, but he's a bit of a dirty player. I was watching some TikToks on him this morning, and he's kind of a dirty player. But I do like the Bills. I'm pulling for the Bills. I want them to go in the AFC side of things, but I just believe that Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, he's just got that it factor, and the Bengals have just been playing so good for so long now. Unfortunately, I just have the Bengals winning that game, and that's an upset there too. You may disagree with me, but I think that the Bengals are going to win that game. A close one, a back and forth game. It's going to be a slugfest, but at the end of the day, I just think that the Bengals offense is better than the Bills. The Bills probably have the better defense, but again, they've just been sputtering at times. Even though it's in Buffalo, I don't think that that's going to matter too much. I got the Bengals winning that particular game. All right, so let's go to the big one everybody wants to talk about, at least in my area, and that is the Cowboys and the 49ers. I wish my boy Darren Hinton was on here so he could talk with me. I do see a friend of ours, Brent Clogston, saying, "What's up, Ken and Smiley?" Smiley was what he went by in high school, but I think he said he goes by Spider now. So let's talk a little bit about this Cowboy and San Francisco 49er matchup on Sunday. And again, that's at 5:30 on Fox. Of course, that Bengal-Buffalo game will be on the CBS station at 2 p.m. on Sunday. All right, so to me, this is an intriguing matchup. I think that this is probably the best game of the week. I don't know, that Bengal and Bills game is going to be good too. This Cowboys and San Francisco 49er, both these teams to me are very similar. They both have great defenses. And that's kind of how the 49ers have been winning. Of course, the 49ers also have a really good offensive line. Christian McCaffrey has been doing well. They've got good receivers. The X factor here will also be quarterback play in this game between Brock Purdy, who has very little playoff experience, and of course Dak Prescott on the Cowboy side of things. The San Francisco 49er has a ferocious defensive line. Bosa's going to be able to get after the quarterback. They have good linebackers. If the San Francisco 49ers have any bit of a weakness, it would be on the back end of their defense. It's going to be tough to run the football against the 49ers for the Cowboys. The Cowboys' offensive line has had some issues protecting Dak Prescott. I think that the 49ers' defensive line is going to hit Dak quite a bit. And Dak's had a problem this year in throwing interceptions. He didn't look bad. He didn't do that last week, but again, he was facing a team that doesn't have as good of a defense. Their defensive line isn't as good as the San Francisco 49ers. Matter of fact, a lot of people have the 49ers going all the way to the Super Bowl, and I could see that. So I do see the San Francisco 49er defense roughing up the Cowboy offensive line, and I could see the Cowboys. Dak Prescott being forced into some interceptions. I think that Zeke is going to be useless in this game. I think your key is going to have to throw screen passes to Pollard. You're going to have to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. Of course, they're going to double up CeeDee. So, that's going to open up for other people to perhaps receivers be able to make some plays. But ultimately, Dak is going to have to win this game. If the Cowboys are going to win it, it's going to fall on Dak's shoulders. He's going to have to take off. He cannot hold the ball in the pocket like he does a lot of times. He's going to have to be more decisive. He's going to have to get out of there and run. I think he's going to have to use his feet if we want a chance in this particular game. And he cannot throw those stupid interceptions. To me, Dak is a lot like Brett Favre. Brett Favre was my favorite quarterback whenever I was growing up. Brett was a gunslinger. He would throw balls that shouldn't be thrown. He would throw interceptions, but he'd also do some amazing things with the football as well. So, Dak's going to have to he's going to have to, win the ball game, and unfortunately he may wind up having to, force some balls in order to do that. On the San Francisco 49ers side of thing, they got this inexperienced quarterback in Brock Purdy, but he has been magnificent. He's Mr. Irrelevant, taken at he was the last pick in the draft. And, he's going to have to probably more or less manage the game. I'm sure that the 49ers coaching staff will have him managing the game, meaning that they're not going to put him in a position to fail. And that's a good coaching staff over there. Hear one of my dogs barking in the background. So if you hear that, that's almost knocked my phone over. That's what you hear here. So Lucky's in here with me, and I'll have him on here in a minute. But yeah, Brock Purdy is gonna, the Cowboys are gonna have to try to get after him. They're gonna have to try to rough him up some. They're gonna have to keep an eye on Christian McCaffrey. Of course, Deebo Samuel. The 49ers they're just a really tough team to beat, especially there in San Francisco. So with all that said, I think that the 49ers have a slightly better defense than the Cowboys, although the Cowboys do have a great defense. I think that the Cowboys offense is better than the 49ers offense. But again, it all comes down to quarterback play. Unfortunately, I have the Cowboys losing a very close one, a low-scoring game, like 20-13, 20-17. I'm going to take the Niners, but I could also see that game going either way. So it looks like we don't have too many viewers on here. I'm going to jump off now. And, of course, I hope that you enjoy your games this weekend. I hope you have fun watching your football games. And I will probably do some live updates on Sunday before the Cowboys game as we get ready to watch it. I'm going to try to have Mark on. And if we can get Darren's connection issues fixed, we'll try to do that too. So remember to follow me on my YouTube page. I've changed it to try to be a little bit easier to find me. It's just @ Meteorologist Ken Johnson, capital K, capital J. Follow me there, and also like me and follow me here on my Facebook page. We do lots of interesting things. I'm about to jump off here and get things ready. I'm going to do a Facebook Live update for the storm system that's going to be impacting the area next week, and talk about whether or not we're going to see some snow with it. So thanks again for joining me here on this little